Alright, 7th grade pre-APers, we're solving formulas today. Now what we're basically going to be doing is solving equations and turning them into formulas. So we're going to be solving formulas. The reason why you solve formulas is you're trying to make a problem easier. Normally when you give a formula like this one, it says volume is equal to the area of the base, which is big B, times the height. Or like if it was a rectangle, it would be length times width times height, which we'll look here in a second. But here's V is equal to BH. The way it would make it easy here is, like normally when you're given a problem like this, they'll say B is equal to 32. That's not a 32. 32. H is equal to 2. Now you find the volume, which all you'd have to do is say 32 times 2, which is 64, and that's the volume. Pretty easy, right? Well, when we solve formulas, we want to make it that easy, but they don't give it to us that easy. In other words, they'll say the volume is 32, and the height in the big B is 8, and they want to find H. Well, this formula is not made to find H. It's made to find volume. So we have to solve it for H. We have to turn it into something where it's just H equals. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to figure out what operation's happening. So over here with the B and the H, what operation's happening? Yeah, it's multiplication. So you're multiplying right here. So if I wanted to solve for H, like get H by itself, I'm going to have to do the inverse operation, which is divide. So V equals BH, I'm going to divide by B. Whatever happens on one side, I do it to the other side. So you see B divided by B is 1. They basically cross out. You're left with 1 times H, which is H. And then on the other side, you get just V divided by B. So now, let's go over here so we have some more room. There we go. So now, let's say we take this and we plug it in here, and we take this 8 and plug it in right here. So it makes our problem easier. So V is 32, and B is 8. So 32 divided by 8 is 4. So it makes our problem a lot easier once we solve the formula. So let's do some more. Here's a different way of saying volume is equal to length times width times height. Let's say we want to know specifically what L is. What is L? Well, we figure out what kind of operation is going on over here. So we look over here and we find out that really we're taking L and we're multiplying it times W, and we're multiplying it times H. So we do the opposite operation. Our inverse operation. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. Bring down my equal sign. And I'm going to divide, because of the associative property and that I can divide these in different orders or whatever, I can take out W and H together. So I'm going to divide WH on both sides. WH divided by WH is 1, crosses out, so you get L. On the other side, we get V over WH. And that's it. That's it until you have numbers to plug in. So let's do another one. Here's circumference equals 2 pi r. What if we wanted to solve for r? What is r? Well, what you do is you figure out what operation is going on. It's multiplication, and you're multiplying 2 pi. So we're going to divide. Put down my equal sign. Divide by 2 pi. And we end up getting r is equal to c divided by 2 pi. Now there's no solving yet. The reason why there's not really solving going on, like finding the solution to this equation, is because we have two unknowns. We have an R and a C. We don't know what they are. We're just prepping the formula to where when we do know if C is something or if R is something, we can find it out pretty fast. Let's do another one. D is equal to R plus T. So you figure out what operation. Let's say we're going to solve for R again. So what operation is happening to R? Well, it's being added. The inverse operation to add is subtract. So we're going to subtract to both sides. T minus T is 0. Cancels out. You're left with R. Now, you cannot subtract D and T, because if it was like 3 and 4, you could, or 5 and 2, or whatever, you could. But you don't know what they are, so it's just D minus T. So that's what you write down, D minus T. And that's the answer. Last one. This one's really hard. This is the area of a trapezoid. This is like the pre-AP side to our class. So let's say we want to solve for B prime, or B1. So we got to figure out what operations are happening over there. Well, the first thing we see is that this is being multiplied to this. So the opposite operation would be divide. So I'm going to divide by 1/2 h on both sides. So now I get, the 1/2 h is crossed out, I get B1 plus B2, is equal to A divided by 1/2 h. Now we can't simplify that because we really don't know what it is. We don't know what A is or H is. Alright, so let's keep going. Now what's happening over there with the B? Well, we still have a plus B2, so what's the opposite of adding? Subtracting. So I'm going to go over here to make more room. So we have A over 1/2 h equals B1 plus B2. There we go. Now I'm going to subtract B2 from both sides. These cancel out, and you get B1 is equal to A over 1/2 h minus B2. That's it. That's your answer. And that's a hard one. We won't have to do anything that hard in this classroom, but it really wasn't that bad as long as you take one step at a time. It just looks like a lot of work. Alright, and that's pretty much the end of class today. Make sure you come tomorrow ready to work, write your summary, and we'll get to those work problems.